Quiet, please!
Hey, this is your boy the Duck coming at you with your next fundamental video. Fundamentals of marksmanship. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. We're about halfway through after this video. If you haven't yet subscribed, so you're never gonna miss any of our future videos. If you haven't done that yet, first off, you just suck at life. Secondly, you suck at life. Make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss any of our good videos and good content that we send out into all of you in YouTube land. So, what are we talking about today? Well, we are going to be talking about sight alignment and sight picture, and yes, I know that is two of our fundamentals, but they kind of go together, so I want to do both of them together. All right, so sight alignment and sight picture. Well, what's the difference between them? Sight alignment. This is going to be the relationship between only your front and rear sight. Those little knobby things that are on top of your gun. Only those two things. When we talk about sight picture, we're talking about lining those knobs and our target and what we're shooting at. All right, so now we have three things we're talking about with sight picture. All right, so let's start with sight alignment. Now, let me caveat first off here. We're not talking about red dots. Okay, I know a lot of you guys are running red dots, but again, we're trying to bring you guys that good foundation, that good fundamentals, the basics. You really need to know how to use your iron sights before you worry about a red dot. All right, and I'm gonna venture to say that most newer shooters, as in our experience we have seen, typically don't invest into the red dot game out the gate. So red dots, if you guys wanna see a video on that, let us know. We'll talk about that later on. But today we're just talking about the iron sights on your gun, okay? So the iron sights. Don't be messing with my drawing now, okay? Because I teach people to pull a trigger for a living, not how to draw. All right, so this is our rear sight, this is our front sight. So most sighting systems are gonna be some variation of a rear notch, all right? And within that rear notch, we're going to line up that front post on the tip of our gun, all right? This front post, sometimes will have a little dot in the middle of it, sometimes there'll be a little line, or sometimes they're just blacked out, all right? A lot of newer sights now have the little fiber optic rods in them, so they're nice and bright, but still at the back of them, all you're seeing realistically is just that red dot, or yellow or green or whatever color your fiber optic is. Some of your nicer bougie guns might have a little gold bead or brass bead on there. So again, some variation of this is probably what you're working with. Now, the concept here is we want to have this rear sight and our front sight, the top of all three are gonna be level. All right, that is our goal. The top of all three are level. We don't want the front sight up here. We don't want it down here. We want it right here in the middle. All right, now, within this front sight and our rear sight, we wanna see the equal amount of distance on both sides. All right, again, we don't want this front sight over to this side. We don't want it over to this side. We want it smack dab in the middle. Now, where you need to know your gun. Some sighting setups are set up for you to have the target or what you want to hit right at the top of that front post. Some are set up for the center, so typically in the middle of that dot. So you would actually cover what you want to shoot at with the front sight. Some you're just putting it right below so you can see, kind of split it in half almost. All right, so this is where you need to understand how the sights are set up. Most guns, you can probably look in the manual. They'll probably give you the breakdown on there. Now, once we have lined up our sights, we now need to line them up on target or our bad guy or whatever we're shooting at. If you're doing bullseye shooting, practice at the range, whatever. Now, physically, your eye cannot focus on the rear sight, the front sight, and the bad guy. All right, your eyes just can't focus multiple distances like that. All right, so what a lot of people will tell you to do, and what's really kind of the standard, is to focus on that front sight. All right, focus on your front sight, make sure it is perfectly clear. You're gonna put that front sight right into, again, that middle of that rear notch, make sure it's lined up, and then you're gonna hover that front sight over your bad guy. Okay, and that should give you a good effective shot on target. Again, remember the context in which we're teaching you guys this week. We're not talking about bullseye shooting. We're not trying to become Olympic bullseye shooters here. We're talking about good defensive shooting. All right, so you're going to put that front sight over that threat, and we're going to pull that trigger, which we'll talk about here in a future video. All right, but again, this is going to be your name in a game. All right, this is why, again, side note, red dots are very effective for those of you that get more into the shooting game. Red dots allow you to focus on the target, which is kind of what our brain automatically wants to do. So once you get more and more into shooting, that might be something you want to consider. But at the end of the day, you still need to know how to use your iron sights, because that is what's always going to be there. That red dot runs on a battery, she could die. So be mindful of that. So this is your video on sight alignment and sight picture. Hopefully you guys took some value from this. Again, hopefully you guys are enjoying this series, and we'll see you tomorrow with our next fundamental. Take care, be safe.